Okay, so I'm gonna do a quickie video here because this thought was, or this interaction was interesting. Okay, don't have lighting, but whatever. Okay, so I was getting some food, and a homeless girl, which was very friendly, but she was kind of a tweaker, so she wasn't 100% there. And she says, "Can I have, $1?" And I say, "Well, I'll give you $1, but you have to come forward on video and tell me what you were told about me." Of course, her first comment was "sir," and the whole "sir" thing starts about a year or two ago after the illegal 2023 arrests with these worldwide stalking groups, and Gregory A. Dohe and all the judges in Van Nuys Courthouse trying to cover up their nonstop worldwide massacre and slaughter and execution since I was 5 years old with my family, paying them off, obviously, or friends with the judicial people. Okay, Judge Eric Harmon, Dohe, Neetu Bottom-Smith, this, that. And unfortunately, she wasn't all there, but she did start in with the dialogue. She said, "Okay, I'll do it." I said, "Okay." I said, "You have to tell me. I'm not going to give you any information here. You have to tell me what you were told about me." And she says, but she couldn't hold her thoughts, unfortunately. But she said, "Well, my brother told me that when you're tortured, you something," and then she sort of stopped and didn't want to go forwards. And I said, "Proceed, whatever." And she then sort of started talking about herself, and I said, "Okay, well, I can't. You got to come over. You got to stay without me giving you any information. Who I am, what specifically in specifics." And she didn't want to go specific, but it did open the door to something to focus on in a dialogue, at least for me, because she couldn't. She kept reverting back to herself, and I said, "Well, I need to know what was said about me." Okay, specifically. But I thought that was interesting because that does relate. She does know who I am, but she didn't want to divulge like everyone else. And my thought here driving home is that person is tortured, or when that person, ironically, when that person is tortured, they react how we don't approve of. Okay, now this is an interesting thought, because the only thought in my mind, I said, well, I'll give you a little hint here from a sociological aspect. What if the government told worldwide groups they're allowed to torture and kill someone without touching them, and they wouldn't hold those people accountable? What do you think the people would do? They would all take part because they knew that they're allowed to kill someone, and the people that always wanted to kill someone would get together and do it, right? Okay, but let's stick on topic here. Hey, we're going to torture this guy to death. He's not reacting how we want him to react. He's not reacting. Anita Perelman, psychology degree, art therapist. Ron Perelman, secondary orthopedic surgeon, psychology degree. Jason Perelman, urologist, psychology degree. Evil brother, right? Looking for weakness, trying to... Okay. Looking for weakness to exploit, to torture, and kill. Okay. This is an interesting thought. When we get together and torture that guy, the blood flies left and not right. So the blood is supposed to fly left. And so now we have to keep going forever because it needs to fly right. But wait, there's not supposed to be blood. You're not supposed to torture people into bleeding to death and dying. As a matter of fact, I was pretty sure the moral of the story here is you're not supposed to hurt or commit crimes against other people, and try to hurt or harm or maim other people. You're not supposed to torture, psychologically torture, or anything else. We don't need to go to the second half. Would I be allowed to tie someone down to a chair and start torturing them and then say, well, because the blood is flying left instead of right, that's not proper behavior, so we're going to keep torturing them to kill them until the blood flies right, or whatever I said, right? Okay, so wait, but nowhere in this equation here is you're not supposed to torture and kill people. See, and by the way, it doesn't really matter if the blood flies left or right. The guy's going to end up dying no matter what, right? And so, now remember that this is the judicial, Mike Huntley, World of Paranoia, have a good life now. We're using the judicial system against you. You really think that this is about mental illness or reactions? Because the bottom line is, you don't put people in that position where their life's in danger for any reason other than hate. H-A-T-E, hate. So, we're all going to get together and torture this person because he doesn't react when being tortured to be killed the way we want him to react. Okay, but the bottom line is that any person being tortured to be killed, whether it's physical or psychologically, with worldwide idea of reference tactics, Ron Perelman, I'm going to try to make my 5-year-old look like a violent paranoid schizophrenic, still going on at 50, almost 54. And you think, and I proved him wrong 100 billion times over, but you think they're actually doing it? I mean, that's the stupidest thing. Well, we just want to see how he reacts while we torture and kill him. The blood's supposed to fly left instead of right. And the bottom line is, nobody's ever thought about the first part of the argument. That you're not supposed to go out and hurt people. You're not supposed to torture and kill people. You're not supposed to Aubrey Fisher troll him to death because Aubrey Fisher was raped by her father or whatever the fuck. Okay, right? And that's the bottom line. That nowhere in 47 billion people on the planet Earth has the notion that torturing and killing's wrong. Just he's not reacting how we want him to react. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to matter how I react. I've proven my point. I sat in courtrooms, pulled nice as can be to judges and this and that, while they tried to, all the lawyers there and prosecutors tried to provoke and intimidate and scare and threaten, and defense attorneys' refusal to defend me with honest arguments and video proof of my innocence. How many times? Like 5 times. Okay, and 3 cases, but I've been in courtrooms a lot more than that because of these illegal conspiracy to commit murder operations, judicial conspiracy to commit murder operations with paid-off police officers. So, and yet they couldn't get those reactions that they wanted because they knew they were guilty by the time I kissed a black girl at 8 years old, and they told the world I was a white supremacist, right? They knew. They're not acting on we're trying to help people. They're acting on how do we execute people and how do we kill people and get away with it. And the cover-up arguments are about mental illness. But like I said, I'm going to keep this short. Why don't they question whether torturing and killing people is wrong? Let's just leave out the kill part and stick to their arguments. Well, we're going to keep torturing him until he reacts correctly. Okay, if he starts developing facial tics or whatever, it's not our fault, it's his fault. Well, maybe if you weren't doing things to people, trying to torture them and kill them in the name of whatever, because the rest is irrelevant. It's all fucking irrelevant how someone reacts when people are committing crimes against them. The only thing that's relevant is that crimes are being committed against them, me, the victim, Kevin Perelman, and on a planetary 1 billion attacks per day. And that's about mental illness? No, it's about using mental illness labeling to cover up and using psychology as a weapon to hunt and exterminate and eradicate. And if you want to call it control, well, we're just going to keep punching him in the back of the head because we don't want him strong enough to go out and work on cars and do the jobs that he chooses and things like that. And what is punching someone in the back of the head? It's called assault and battery. Okay, so it's not called control, it's called assault and battery. And cold-blooded murderers like my family can go out and try to justify torturing and killing in the name of whatever. In the end, it's the crime of all crimes, and it's torturing and killing, and it's not just a family. It's a family, elementary school teachers, high school teachers, college professors, all of Jason's friends, Mike Huntley, Jason Baum, Mike Wexler, every neighbor, almost every neighbor I've interacted with, no matter where I've lived worldwide. Roommates, Colorado, bringing the gay guy home. You didn't stick your dick in the gay guy. You ruined our life. We have to hunt you and kill you. With the gay community, okay, black community, you kissed the black girl, we have to hunt you and kill you because we want you to react. We want your blood to fly left instead of right when we're hunting you to kill you. But in this worldwide daily mobbing to kill a 5-year-old Jewish child with a psychotic murdering family in the name of whatever, which is irrelevant. Does it matter which way the blood flies? Or better yet, maybe you shouldn't do that to people. So what's it really about? Because it's not about mental illness. It's not about behavior. It's not even about control. It's about killing and getting away with it. And government flag and kill operations to execute a 5-year-old. And people that walk up to me laughing while provoking me doing it, no, that's guilt. That's not this guy's crazy. That's pure hatred and guilt. And how do we cover this up? And that's why there's 47 billion people involved, and that's why it's based on daily attacks, because they started something that they can't get out of, and killing the target to cover it up and say he just went crazy. With the death threats in 2001, Mike Huntley, we're using the judicial system against you. Have a good life now. You'd better live a careful life. That's not about anything in killing or eradicating and getting away with it. Okay? To this day, I don't know what it's even really about, because it doesn't make sense other than I come out of college finding out my family's hunting me with a plan of child rapists to kill me. And you can see that when someone won't just say, you're Kevin Perelman and this is what we were told, that is what we call guilt. That is not anything but guilt, pure guilt, that we can't come forward. What the Perelman family started in 1977 or around then is so horrifically unspeakable, and everyone is trying to contain the lies and saying, but Kevin has an opinion of daily attacks for 50 years. It can't come out. It can't come out why the Perelman family is so filled, minus me, is so filled with anger and rage that they're even capable of doing this to a child, instead of saying, I want you to have a good life, and go out and make money and have friends and relationships, and maybe we'll give you some crumbs, some scraps here to eat, and tell you it's example, hey, when the sheriff's giving you food in jail, he's doing something for you, right? He's going out of his way for you, right? Oh, well, no, the sheriff wants you in a cage, but he's keeping you alive because he doesn't want you to die on his watch. That's all that's happening with the Perelman family, stopping me from going out with an entire planet, helping them sabotage every aspect of my life on every level, even getting fresh air. Okay, so they're not doing it for any other reason, but I hate my 5-year-old, and we can't have the truth about anything on any level coming to light.
Speed limit decrease ahead to 40 kilometers per hour.
Attacks, physical attacks, the violent mental illness attacks, everything on every level. Upwards of 1 billion attacks per day, finding out since 2001. And then the cover-ups with the judicial system, Gregory A. Dohe and the rest of Eric Harmon, Neetu Bottom Smith. What was that, Judge? Stephen Marcus. My next step would be to force you out of your place, showing illegal motive, agenda, operations, that he's involved in something to try to force someone into a cage out of hate. I could be going out, I could be making money, I could have social lives, but they destroyed all that, and the only reason they keep doing this is because they don't want that truth coming out. It's not me, it's them. And once again, from a sociological aspect, if the world's told that they're all allowed to torture and kill someone and they're not going to be held accountable, there would be a large percentage of people saying, I always want to know what it was like to torture and kill someone, so I'm going to help and take part. And then they're going to laugh, because when you mentally bludgeon someone's skull in and blood's flying out of their skull left or right, and they're laughing, then it's a tease and a joke. So what the statement of LAPD and my family, especially my father, Ron Perelman, is that if people bash your skull in with lead pipes and laugh, it's not a crime because they're laughing. It's just a tease and a joke. See? And that's the Perelman thought process, that they don't understand right from wrong. But that's not the problem. The problem is that they don't understand right from wrong, but they're paying off or friends with people in the judicial system and police officers saying, help us torture and kill our son in the name of whatever. See, and that's the real problem, because people with authority are going out launching worldwide campaigns to kill a 5-year-old Jewish child and covering up with daily lies for 50 years, and those lies instantly go out worldwide to cover up each and every daily crime against me. And that's when you know who and what they are, because if you're a moral and ethical person, you would never do that, and you'd never take part, even if someone approached you and said, this guy's crazy, help us. There are a lot of people that are crazy or suffer from mental illness, and they're not being hunted by worldwide groups to torture and kill them. Only Kevin Perelman is, who actually, ironically, is the sanest, moral, ethical person that I've ever even seen or met, right? I mean, I've met a lot of judicial and police officers. I have not met one police officer who was honest. Not one. Especially judges or lawyers. But yet I'm the guy being judged, the guy who's standing his ground saying this is all fucking front and these people are all fucking full of shit, and I have a voice, and they say you're not allowed to tell anyone worldwide or we're going to hunt you and kill you with worldwide groups, right? Now, I don't need to explain anything else, because actions speak louder than words. And if they have to violate my computer privacy, my cell phone privacy, GPS tracking, all the above, nonstop since 94, or since cell phones were invented, then they've made their statement that I'm the innocent, they are the oppressors, but they are hunting to kill with worldwide groups for the very thoughts in my brain about what my family started at 5 years old in the name of, I'm just going to say control, even though it's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard. And so they've been exposed, but the people worldwide, the Nazi people versus Kevin Perelman worldwide, are enabling the oppressors to torture and kill children and people of all ages under the psychological labeling. And it's just an empty label. Now, some people do suffer from mental illness and they do need help, but you can't walk up to someone and say, you're a violent paranoid schizophrenic, I'm gonna hunt you and kill you with worldwide groups, and you're like, what did I just walk into? Okay, you're like, I'm coming out of college and I'm working for Hollywood studios, and boom, some dude walks up and says you suffer from, and like Yuka at the Warner Center Met, so we're gonna hunt you and kill you with worldwide groups because you suffer from, and these are all crimes. Okay, it's no different than saying Jewish people need to die. It's an empty label or a label, and you cannot justify torturing and killing with worldwide conspiracies or just someone by themselves for any fucking reason, period. So when, like, example, when Terrence Scroggins is sitting on the stand saying, well, you know, he's a public nuisance, I'm allowed to hunt him, well, that is the essence of the entire problem. He's a public nuisance, even though I'm not. We're going to launch worldwide public nuisances to hunt and mob some guy to death and rid him of the world. The public nuisance is the witnesses claiming that they're the victims. We all know the truth, okay? The entire planet knows the truth, yet they keep the lie going with the corrupt judges who don't think that torturing and killing 5-year-old Jewish children, or anyone for that matter, is wrong. But they are making money off of it, correct? They're making lots of money off of it. So, it's okay. Alright, so, unfortunately, enough came out of her mouth to work with, but she wasn't. Two issues arose from this person. One, they were homeless and they were capable of saying whatever they needed to say to try to get money or get something for survival. B, even, and I could tell instantly she knew me, especially with her calling me sir, because when people started calling me sir, it all started worldwide at the same time, like everything else. And she wanted to give me a couple of hugs, and it was interesting because my
speed limit decrease ahead, 248 kilometers per hour.
I gave her a couple of hugs, but I posted that on the internet a couple days ago. Okay, the information that's coming off my social networks. By the way, my social networks, example, my Twitter account has 156 followers, and I would guess that maybe 10 of them, if that, aren't spam accounts. So how does that information instantly go worldwide? Okay, and this pattern has been over and over daily with social networks. And she was tweaking a little, so her brain wasn't, but she did start in, and then she didn't want to go further, and so she knew me, but she didn't want to talk about what's going on, like almost every human interaction. Usually I met with pure hatred and rage, but we never have the honesty. And I don't let people into my life generally. The Steve Levinsons, they're all the same. They don't want to talk about what's being done in my life because they don't understand it's wrong. So if you can't walk up to me and say, you're Kevin Perelman, this is just unacceptable, and not play schizophrenia dialects, hint, 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 see, we're friends. No, we're not friends. Friends don't interject the possibility. Friends say it how it is. Okay, so my brother said that when you're tortured, and I said proceed, and she wouldn't, and you can take that statement, whether it's, first of all, she wouldn't be a credible witness for anything, but you can take the statement, the fragmented statement, from sort of a homeless tweaker who knew me, and say there's enough there that she's starting in, but she doesn't want to talk about it because she doesn't want to expose the counter argument. She doesn't want to expose the counter argument. And when was the United States of America built on everything's based on a one-sided argument, and you do what we say or we kill you? That's what the United States is now. That's what, especially Van Nuys Courthouse. But this is a worldwide event to torture and kills. 91, Kelly Hatch told to follow me up to Southern Oregon State College from Calabasas High. Kevin's walking away. Kevin's going out and he's getting educations out of California to further his life. And I didn't really realize that they were getting angry that the guy they were stalking is leaving his cage, because I didn't really understand I was in a cage, right? Okay. So, now we got Garrett, 2004 Starbucks. It's your transgressions. Well, there's no crime. There's just random worldwide strangers saying what they need to say to get away with killing someone, correct? Okay, so that being said, I will end it here that I don't really talk to many people, and it would be nice to have someone just say, listen, this is what we're told, and this is what's going on, and not the cover-up lies. We're going to keep punching you in the back of the head, trying to get reactions, and then say, look what you did, because that's a lie. That's a cover-up. That's why there's 1 billion attacks per day. It's not because I did anything wrong, because someone wants me dead since 5 years old, and the more I find out, the judicial system, Mike Huntley, we're using the judicial system against you. Have a good life now. You'd better live a careful life. And in other words, you don't leave your cage, or you're gonna end up possibly reacting to attacks, right? Which is the motive. The motive is to execute and eradicate, or keep the victim, me, in a cage. So why does a 5-year-old need to be in a cage? Or why does a 5-year-old need to be in a cage or dead? These are the questions. Well, there can only be one answer from the only two people responsible. Anita Perelman or Ron Perelman. I hate my 5-year-old. My 5-year-old needs to die. I'm going to say what I need to say with my psychology degrees with the father and the brother, right? We're just going to keep hunting him. His kind is not allowed to exist. We hate him. We hate him. We don't like our 5-year-old. We hate him. And he needs to die. And I make it to 8. I kiss a black girl showing warmth and kindness, and they get angry, right? They're like, God fucking damn it. He keeps proving us wrong. So then they escalate it, right? They bring in the band Devo. Kevin conforms to media. He hates black people. He's a white supremacist. He listened to the band Devo. He's taking his anger out on a black girl. Of course, none of this ever happened. The only thing that happened was Kevin kissed a black girl, and the family brought in the band Devo to sing. This is Sunny Skies Day Camp or T1 class between 1st and 2nd grade or whatever. But nothing happened, but me being a really good person. So the Perelman family does what any lying murderer does. They look for things to use against the person, and then they say what they need to say to get what they want. And that is a cold-blooded murderer. That's not Gabby Angle dialogue at Mercedes Soto House. That is literally the personality of a cold-blooded murderer who doesn't understand right or wrong, a narcissist and a sociopath, and then who suffers is the 5-year-old Daley, who's about to turn 54, with an entire planet under the notion when he's tortured, but then maybe you shouldn't be torturing people, because it's not about how you react to being hunted and be killed. It's about how you react, or it's about not having to react. See, if someone approaches you shooting at you, how do you react? Well, you would say, I don't want to be in that situation because I want to focus on living my life, not reacting to people shooting at me all day, right? Or however you want to word it. Shooting, putting shock collars, because Ron Perelman put shock collars on Rhoda and tries to mentally shock his 5-year-old to death with worldwide groups, right? And how did Rhoda react? Well, Rhoda ended up biting the gardener, and then when my friend Vasu stepped over Rhoda, he jumped up and bit Vasu in the neck. That's how Rhoda reacted to being tortured with shock collars, right? And not by me, but by the father, who is trying to keep the dog out of the kitchen, right? By putting perimeter shock collars and all sorts of weird shit, because the father doesn't have the ability to communicate with the dog or the child. See, so you don't know why the guy's mad at you. You just know he's zapping you to death with a plan of people or the dog, and eventually the dog is saying, I don't know what to do. And my father's trying to sort of replicate that with me, right? But he can't, so he's making up the lie with his judicial friends and his judge friends and shit like that. Okay, so that's cold-blooded murder. And by the way, if it's been going on for 50 years, 48, 49 years, then he's not doing it to prove anything or test. He's doing it out of hatred to take out his anger. The family is taking out their anger on the child so that they can feel better about what they are. See, it's displacement, it's projection. Okay, so I will end it here, but I'm not allowed to say that because now the psychology community is going to say, with their worldwide child rapist armies, is going to say, he can't say these types of things, and we have to kill him. It's his fault. And that's the point behind everything Daley since 5 years old, that God gave us mouths for a reason, and the First Amendment, freedom of speech on the Constitution, exists to speak out against tyranny, not strengthen tyranny. And I would explain this to the people over and over, but the people can't fucking understand. They're going around, there's Kevin Perelman, throw rocks at his head, torture him and kill him because he has a problem too, or weird fucking shit like that. Just the weirdest. Yeah, okay, well, you can't justify it. Cold-blooded murder is not justifiable. Conspiracy to commit murder is not justifiable. It is the ultimate hate crime, And that is why they keep throwing me in jail cells and cages, because the predators stalking me with the family, the worldwide predators and the psychotic family, can't have the truth coming out because they want to look like good, cold-blooded murderers. Okay, so and that's why Gregory A. Dohe and all the other judges in Van Nuys Courthouse and police officers won't file police reports or do anything, no matter how much proof I have, because they're trying to cover. It's like that because I'm Jewish. It's like that priest child molesting priest ring. It's like, they're all priests are all good people, right? So they're allowed to molest children in God's name or whatever. Well, that's kind of like my family, right? They're using religion to mask what they are and what they're doing, and the reality of the situation is that at any point they could come forward with this is wrong, and they won't, right? With everyone else. So it's not just the family, but it's the planetary conspiracy to commit murder helping the sick family, and any person that helps, any person that aids and abets a worldwide child rapist operation or torture, or we want them to react right when we're torturing them and to kill them with our psychological warfare tactics. Okay, you're aiding and abetting. But we always ignore the most important questions, which is, if Kevin Perelman's coming out of college, he's lifting weights at gyms, he's socially active, he's playing pool, he's hanging out with social groups. I'm not going to say I'm like Mr. Life of the Party here. He's working, he's doing 3D animation, he's starting his own companies, and boom, we have a plan of people hunting you to kill you. And that's the turning, that's the hinge. That's the hinge of my life in 2001, 29 years old. What the fuck's going on? Oh, well, you don't have a right to exist. World of paranoia, have a good life now. We're using the judicial system against you. You'd better live I don't understand. What are you mad about? You're mad because I'm reckless and out of control for taking astrophysics classes? Is that or discrete data structures, or my BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts? Or these are all what the government is concerned about? This is what the government spends all of our tax dollars on, is that people that, go to college and study computer science and get a BFA, a mixed degree with BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and get into 3D animation, visual effects, and they're all unknown quantities because they have brain cells in their brains. And by the way, there's 100 billion people way smarter than me, so I don't understand the whole smart. Well, it's your fault because you're smart. Well, Albert Einstein wasn't being hunted to be killed by worldwide groups in the government. He was put up on a fucking pedestal, and people wanted his intelligence. They didn't try to torture him and kill him and go, laugh at the guy, we're bashing the skull in with lead pipes, okay? So, you know what I'm saying? All right. So it's all cover up over cover up over cover up over cover up all the way daily down to 5 years old. Okay, those original labels that I'm violent, paranoid, schizo, for some reason, whatever the Perelman family's issues in the name of control or whatever, are fabrications for psychotic criminals to get what they want or own someone as a slave. And any attempt to even verbally state, even ask the question, like at 29, Mike, what the fuck's going on, is met with pure retaliation and retribution by the police, the government, worldwide groups. And remember that turning 29, I had no concept of why I was even known by the police or anyone else, other than finding out, which was hard for me to understand, to grasp, that Jason Perelman, while running around every day, my life's in danger, Kevin tried to kill me, or whatever, and everyone else making the same empty claims, is in the name of how do we rid this guy of the world and execute him. Cold-blooded worldwide execution and methods unheard of psychology degree methods. And to this day, you don't talk, and they try to make it a joke, but we all know it's not. That's why, even though that person was sort of tweaking, she still was coherent enough that she should have said, you're Kevin Perelman, and this is what we were told. So I have to work with the tidbits of, my brother said you're tortured, and yeah, she wanted money, and she would have probably said anything and done anything for it, but that statement wouldn't have come out of her mouth if she didn't know who I was. It would have been something else. She would have babbled about something way farther off the topic. Okay, so because we all know that the lies that I see things that aren't there and hear voices and I'm a violent parent, it's all bullshit. The only thing I see is some guy saying we're using the judicial system against you, you're dead, and watching angry people lash out, and also thousands of different methods, not just cars, but verbally, visually, clothing colors, copycat tactics, on the internet, off the internet, privacy violations, every computer exploit known to man. Computer-wise, since '94, when Jason Perelman wanted me to see the internet, and worldwide groups using the internet on internet propaganda kill systems built around me, and obviously neighborhood websites of people just fabricating newer and newer daily lies to fearmonger and rile up the masses, and they are told to by the police on neighborhood watch groups with child raping murderers like Charles Sean Dinsey and his judicial friends. And Dinsey was clearly paid off starting in 2009 by Ron Perelman to say silence this child at all costs. There's no fucking doubt about it, okay? With the rest of them, okay? Detective Angela Stewart, Detective Shapiro, Detective Ruiz, there's so many others. Officer Jensen, so many others. Okay, so that's it.